All right, so if you ever wondered how much money you need to bring home in order to buy a home in the great state of Texas, well, you clicked on the right video, because today we're gonna dive in city by city, metro area by metro area, to give you the average income needed to comfortably afford a home in those areas. And I say comfortably because we're gonna be using the 30% rule. Now, the 30% rule states that you are spending about 30% of your take-home pay on your housing, and that is just housing. So that is the mortgage and interest, the insurance, the taxes, the HOA, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with like your lights, utilities, internet, all of that stuff. We're not putting that in these calculations, but if you're trying to get an idea of what that looks like for you, maybe you add them in. And we're gonna be using the 30% rule because that is typically the front end debt to income ratio that most mortgage lenders are going to accept. I'll also break it down by down payments. Are you putting 20% down or 3.5% down? And how does that differ for those individual scenarios? Okay, so it's gonna be a lot of numbers, it's gonna be a lot of detail, but it is also gonna be covering wide stretches of land, right? We're talking about the metros and the average home prices in those metros. So just know it really depends on what neighborhood you want, what city you want inside those metros for you to really get an accurate assessment of what you can afford. This will just give you a general idea. If you want to dive deeper, then please feel free to reach out to myself and the team. I'm a real estate agent in the great state of Texas. I cover Central Texas, so Austin area, on into the Killeen, Fort Cavazos area. My team and I, we do this every day, all day. All we do is help people make great decisions about their home choice. So if you want a more one-on-one tailor-fit analysis of what you can afford, then click on the link in the description. We're happy to talk. All right, we got a lot to cover, and I guarantee some of these numbers are gonna surprise you. Spoiler alert, 50K doesn't get you a lot in Austin, Texas. All right, let's dive in. And with that, I'm gonna start in Austin, Texas. So the median home price there is right around $536,000, $565,000, and the salary needed at a 30% debt to income ratio. And this assumes an interest rate of about 6%, okay? And then we're gonna assume this interest rate on pretty much all these numbers. The salary needed for you to afford a home at that price is $102,840. All right, and the monthly payment, if you're putting 20% down, is about $2,571. All right, $2,571. Now the salary needed at 30% debt to income, and you're only putting 3.5% down because it makes a difference, right? You're gonna need to make $129,000. And the monthly payment for that is gonna be somewhere around $32,038. Now here's what comes with a lower down payment. One, you need to make more money, right? And why? Because that payment's gonna be higher. And one of the things that makes that payment higher is gonna be private mortgage insurance. Now, if you put 20% down, that's something you can avoid. But if you're going anywhere under 20%, probably gonna see that PMI. We can do a whole nother video about that, but it doesn't have to stay with you forever. But it's definitely something to take into account, and it can make a home more or less affordable. So let's pop on the computer here, and I want to look and see, first of all, look at how large of an area we're talking about here. And there's a ton of homes on the market between this 500 and 550 number. And just look, like it varies greatly. So this is beautiful. I don't even know where Manchaca, Texas is. I'm assuming that's more in the south side of Austin, but look at that. This kind of gets crazy, beautiful 2-story home, a little older there, right? So the older it is, the larger it is, the more pricey, then it's probably in one of those nicer neighborhoods. But there's even some new construction here. Like, it really varies greatly. And why does that happen? Because it all depends on area. It's area specific. But if you're shopping in this general price point, one thought is you have a whole lot of options. Like, there's a ton for you to look at here. Then it all just depends on what you want. You want something that's a little bit older and has been updated. You want something more modern, something more new construction. I think you can get pretty much anything you want in this general price range, but how close are you gonna be to the center of Austin and the more popular areas? As you go out into the outskirts, up in here into the Round Rock, Pflugerville, all of that, it really changes. The same thing for when you go south. So it really, really changes. But in this 500 price point, some very, very nice houses, which there absolutely should be, because $500,000 for a house is wild. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, now this one's for the San Antonio and New Brunswick area. A lot less expensive than moving to Austin. Median home price there is about $320K, and they got a basketball team down there. We got college over here in the Austin area, so there's actually some good entertainment options for that $320. Now the salary needed, if you're putting 20% down, is gonna be $61,000. Okay, and the monthly payment for that 20% down is about $1,535, which, you know, kind of seems to be about the average payment that you see around Texas. That's a really good number. That seems super affordable. And the salary needed, if you're gonna be doing 3.5% down, it's gonna be $78,000. All right, so we're getting a little bit more up there, and that monthly payment looks more like $1,900. Okay, a little bit closer to $2,000. So something to keep in mind there. Now let's shoot over to Zillow. And I couldn't pull in the whole San Antonio, New Brunswick area here, but we do get a lot. And you can get a lot for your money out here in San Antonio. This is one of those markets that I think is a really, really good investment right now, because it's on the lower end. It's right around the median price for like a home in Texas, period. But it has some really nice areas, some great master plan communities. Entertainment options are great. There's great culture out here in San Antonio. And man, it's just super nice. You can get pretty good home for around that price point. Oh, that blue, ooh, look at those walls. Oh my gosh, blue, orange. Is that orange? It's like a peach, lime, electric green. Man, it's wild. Whoa, oh man, okay. That's my entertainment for today. Wow, okay. Yeah, they're really feeling it. They got the bright colors happening in that place. And you can get a new construction, same thing. Now, one of the things that I hear about some of the areas in San Antonio, really all depends on where you are, but foundation issues, that's pretty prominent down there. Same for like some of the areas in North Austin. Don't mean to call San Antonio out like that. You want to be a little wary, be cautious when you're grabbing a home out here. Check for those foundation issues. I mean, that's kind of anywhere. I guess it was a mute point. All right, let's go back, and we're going to pop into the Houston, Pasadena, Woodlands area. Huge swath of land we're talking about here. All right, median home price, $369,900. So a little bit more pricey than the San Antonio area. A lot more real estate covered here, okay? And the salary needed for a 20% down payment is gonna be about $71,000. All right, monthly payments, if you're putting 20% down, is gonna be $1,774. Salary needed, if you're gonna only be doing 3.5% down, which is like your standard FHA, that's gonna be $90,000. So jumped up on us there. Same thing for the monthly payment at 3.5%. We're looking at $2,256. And again, this all assumes a 6% interest rate. So this all fluctuates, whether your rate's higher, credit's high or low. Like, there's so many variables that go into determining what your actual payment would be. This video is great for a general idea, but to really, really know, you gotta dive in, do the consult, take a mortgage app, and let's really look at what you got coming in versus what you got going out, your credit score, your income, your cash on hand. Like, all of these things matter. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Let's see what we got in Houston in this 300 price range. There's some really nice stuff out here. And this is a tiny little thin new construction, but it's 1,700 square feet, but it was so thin. One of the things about the homes in Houston that I love and hate is a lot of them, like, they'll build up. And so you'll get a home that has 3 different levels. And I'm not a huge fan of steps. Like, I bought my home just straight up single story. I was not about to do the steps, but I can only imagine doing 2 sets of steps in your home. And me and my wife almost moved to Houston. We were like this close, and we decided to come to the North Austin area instead. Nice properties out here, and it varies. Like you got these kind of townhome styles, then you got your regular like ranch home. This is it looks like, what is it, multifamily? All right. For all my investor peeps, you got a little duplex there. You got some townhome styles. Like it really varies, and that's because the areas vary. Some good stuff going on in Houston. One of my favorite cities in Texas for sure. Make sure you tell me, what does 369 get you in your neighborhood? Is it gonna get you to the hills, or is it gonna put you in the hood? I'm super curious to know. So all you people that are on the ground, give me the real info, all right? So let's move on to Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington. Again, huge amount of land we're covering here. Median sales price is $430. Salary needed at 20% down is gonna be $82,000, almost $82,500. Monthly payment for that is right around $2,000. Salary needed, if you're only gonna be doing 3.5% down, that FHA, is $104. Man, monthly payment for that, right around $26-23. Now, I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. The less money you put down in some of these major areas, the closer to 100K a year you're gonna need to make. And if you want to move into Austin, Houston, Dallas, and be able to do that low down payment, you're gonna need to make close to 100K. But the market, like the San Antonio market, you're not gonna need that much in order to get in. And I don't know what the relocation numbers are like for the San Antonio area, but if you're looking for something that's really affordable and it still comes with its own culture, I think San Antonio is a really good option, all right? Let's see what we can get in the Dallas area for this between 400 and 450. First thing I'm noticing is one giant amount of land. Like look, between Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Irving, like, oh, this is a lot of real estate. And it starts around 450 here. It's like, I'm not seeing, oh, there we go. There's a 400. That's really nice for 400. A little bit older, but that's 3,000 square feet. This one's 2,000 square feet for 450. It's like a big jump between the two, but it really all depends on the area. Again, 425, 419. There's not a lot that's hanging around on the lower end of the fours, but there's some stuff here. I'm just hoping I can find another one of those houses with the electric green. Yeah, super interesting. Not as many townhomes as there are in Houston, and most things are like one level or two levels. So you can see the difference in architecture between this Dallas-Fort Worth area and the Houston area, and even the San Antonio area. Like I'm sure you can see the difference in the style of houses. That should play a large role into where you actually live. All right, let's pop into El Paso real quick. Definitely on the more affordable side. $265 is the median house price down there. For 20% down, you're gonna need a salary of about 50K. Very doable. Monthly payment is about $1,273 if you do 20% down. Salary needed, if you're gonna do 3.5% down, it's gonna be $64K. Still pretty doable. Definitely the lowest on the spectrum that we've seen so far, but I've got something else for you. And the monthly payment there is gonna be $1,619. Now, I'm gonna go and look at El Paso. El Paso is a place that I personally wouldn't wanna live, just not necessarily my style. But then I want you to see, again, the architectural difference here, okay? Look at that. These are more Hispanic style, more Spanish style homes, more desert feel to the landscaping, all right? 279, 300K, 267, 265, like there's a lot here. Under 300,000. 289, it looks like a McMansion right here. What's that? But it's only 2,500 square feet. I love the way that thing is set up. These arch columns in the front, that's crazy. HOA would hate that. Hate it. Really cool desert style homes out here. Not my personal style, but I still think they're super cool to look at. But this is what you're looking at for, like, this is what kind of the starter home looks like down here into something that's a little bit more sophisticated. Really cool. And I don't think I've ever just searched through the homes in all the metros like this and just like seen them back to back, but it's really, really interesting to me. Super interesting. All right, now the bonus, you know me, I always like to cover the Killeen, Fort Cavazos area because that's where I'm at. I'm here between Cavazos and Austin. So if you need to buy a home in any one of those areas, holler at the kid. Anywhere in the state of Texas, we can also do loans. So just FYI on that. All right, so median house price in the Killeen, Fort Cavazos area is about 301, but what I know is in like actual Killeen, it's more like the 250. So it's a little bit lower than this El Paso. Salary needed for a 20% down payment is gonna be $57K. Monthly payment for that is around $1,400. And salary needed for 3.5% down is right at about $73,000. Monthly payment for that is right around $1,800. So not crazy expensive, definitely online with El Paso, but I would much rather live in the Killeen area than the El Paso area. That's me personally. Let's see what that gets you. So I know this one's in a really nice neighborhood, and that's a big house at 2,500 square feet. Little 3-car garage action for $315 there. All right, and if you notice, like a lot of the homes in the Killeen area, they look alike. The Killeen area has its own style, and it's really the Texas style houses. And I would say it gets closer to the type of houses that you're either gonna see like in North Austin or some into that Dallas-Fort Worth area. A little bit of what you're gonna see in Houston as well, but Houston has more variation. A lot less variation in architectural styles, but hey, here's another thing that we haven't seen yet. That is more multifamily. So way more duplex options in this 300 price range than in pretty much anywhere else. Now, this isn't just talking investment either. You could live with your family, multi-generational. You get on one side, your family members, your parents, your brother, sister, or whatever, they get on the other side. So definitely not a bad idea there. Lots in the Killeen, Fort Cavazos area in that price range. All right, so as you can see, Texas is not a one-size-fits-all. And if you want that free personalized breakdown of your individual situation, I could do home buyer game plans for you all day, every day. Book a link, but I'm hoping that this just gave you a little bit of insight as to what you might be able to afford and what you might need to be bringing home in order to afford it. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what these amounts of money actually get you in the neighborhoods that you're living in. What type of mortgage payments are you seeing? Let's give the community an idea of what it actually costs to live in these places. All I have is averages and kind of overarching data. You guys are on the ground, so I really, really want your perspective and your opinion. I appreciate you guys for spending a little bit of time here with me today, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Just like maybe like one of these videos. You might really like that one. All right, peace.